Hi, and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today's Guitar Hero album is Led Zeppelin II, featuring the great Jimmy Page, released on October 22nd, 1969. This was, based on the title, as you can tell, the second album from Led Zeppelin, and it was actually released on October 31st in the United States. Wait a minute, October 22nd in the United States, October 31st in England. I got that backwards, apologies. On the Atlantic label. Iconic rock album. And the recording sessions took, now mine is the recent reissue, which I think is a great quality. And I'll show you guys the Atlantic label there, as well as the hype sticker. Now, it was recorded in several locations, and it was produced by Jimmy Page, who was the main songwriter as well as guitarist. And it was the first Led Zeppelin album where they teamed up with Eddie Kramer, the recording engineer. Of course, it has all the things that made Led Zeppelin kind of famous, blues, folk music, some of the things that they incorporated into sort of the hard rock riff sound. But a lot of people will agree that this is probably the heaviest album by the band. It was a huge commercial success. It reached #1 on the charts in both the UK and the United States. And the cover design, David Juniper, who designed this album cover, it was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Package. And so it's gone on to become one of the iconic Led Zeppelin albums. Of course, most Led Zeppelin albums have become iconic. There was this period between January and August where they did several concert tours. And so every song was sort of recorded separately and mixed separately. So it wasn't just one big session. The whole record was written on tour. And so they'd get a couple of hours in between concerts and go in and record at different studios. And so there's this sort of spontaneous type sound and a sense of urgency. John Paul Jones, the bass player, said that they were touring a lot, and so Jimmy was writing a lot of riffs, and a lot of them were on stage that would come out when they were jamming during Dazed and Confused. And of course they'd remember what he was doing good, and they'd go in the studio and try to record. And some of the studios, I mean, as a result, they weren't the best studios. There was a studio in Vancouver. It was credited as a hut. They had an 8-track setup that didn't even have the headphone facilities. Robert Plant later said it was crazy. Said they were writing these songs in the hotels. They do a rhythm track in London, then go do the vocals in New York. They'd do a harmonica in Vancouver, and then they'd come back and mix in New York. So it was just like a very hectic recording session. But a lot of great material as a result of that. Of course, the album opens with the iconic Whole Lotta Love, which is probably one of the greatest guitar riffs ever. Anybody that plays hard rock guitar knows that riff and plays it. But the whole album, it runs through this just a virtual, almost like a greatest hits. There's Whole Lotta Love on the album, the Lemon Song, Thank You. Side 2 starts off with that double shot of Heartbreaker and Livin' Lovin' Maid, Ramble On, and of course Moby Dick, the drum solo featuring the mighty John Bonham. Just a heavy record all the way through. And I think it was sort of the blueprint. I think this, along with several of the albums by Black Sabbath, sort of became the blueprint for what heavy metal music became and hard rock music, all the best and worst of it. I think a lot of it stems from what Led Zeppelin II and those early Black Sabbath records. So highly influential. And it's a solid album. It's one that you can put on, crank up, burn the speakers out, and just rock out to. So Led Zeppelin II, today's daily record. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. I love to hear from you guys and interact with you. In the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another daily record.